coach from East Carolina, Bobby Slowick, who obviously speaks very highly of this linebacker, a very quick linebacker who hits hard and plays inside. But at this point, looks like this pick will be Darrell Williams. We had a tip-off. If we can look into the draft room on our draft room cam. Moments ago, Dave Wannstedt, defensive coordinator, sitting across the table. That's Jimmy Johnson on your right, Jerry Jones. Across from Jerry is Dave Wannstedt. He reached across and picked up the phone after Jimmy and Jerry were speaking. That is the Vice President, Mike McCoy, and Stephen Jones, Jerry's son, helping to negotiate the deal. So we await the Cowboys selection. Let's go back now to Chris Berman in New York.
All right, here is the pick, Chris. So
the Dallas Cowboys select Robert Jones, linebacker, East Carolina University.
Robert Jones, a guy that some did not have in the first round, but in people I talked with late this week, Mel, said that he is one heck of a football player.
Well, he was productive at East Carolina. Everything there was funneled in his direction. I don't see him as a first-round pick, though. I think Darrell Williams would have been a more ideal pick. I'm sure they debated that simply because Jimmy recruited Darrell Williams at Miami, and he would have fit a need. Robert Jones, a solid 240-pounder. Guy, like I said, at East Carolina, the average weight of their defensive lineman was about 232. So he had to make most of the plays. Like I say, everything was funneled in his direction. A guy, like you say, had 18, 20 tackles a game, playing a tough schedule. This is a team that went with 10, 11, and 1 this year. Played some of the top teams in the country. Here against Syracuse, in the Carrier Dome, when they were able to pull out that upset in the second half, he was all over the field. Had 18 stops in that game. Here against Southern Mississippi last year, he's going after Brett Favre, who was then the quarterback at Southern Miss. And a guy, production-wise, Chris, he makes some sense. But I think there were better players there. And if I'm the Cowboys making this pick, I take Darrell Williams. I know why they went with Jones. They need that middle linebacker. They need that productivity, and it fills a need. But to me, Darrell Williams is the better football player.
Yeah, but they're certainly going after need. They're close. They're a coming team in the NFC, and their middle linebackers, here's what it is. Smith, Clark, and Ken Norton. That's really all that they have thus far. And so if Robert Jones portrays himself into the middle linebacker that they're looking for, I mean, they just need DB and linebacker because, my goodness, have we all been impressed, Tommy? When Jones and Johnson came into the league a few years ago, it was like, well, they're out of their league. They're country guys in with the big city slickers. Wrong.
Yeah, I think as Mel said, they certainly could have taken the DB, and they could fill all of those slots almost before you get out of the first round. But certainly this fills a need for them, and I think that as we get down toward these teams that now have a legitimate shot at a Super Bowl, at getting to a Super Bowl, we're finding teams that are picking their player to fill a specific need.
You know, I think the other thing, too, Tommy, is here's a kid that benches 500, squats 660, and the interesting thing about Robert Jones is he's not really what you'd call a real rookie, like a Tommy Maddox coming out as a sophomore. This guy's 23 years old. He's been around. He's got some maturity. He's actually going to add a lot to that defense, and that's the area that the Cowboys, after the game against Detroit, they know that they've got to improve that back seven of their football team, and I think they're doing it right here.
Bob Slowick, linebacker coach at East Carolina, now linebacker coach with the Cowboys. He knows exactly what he's getting in Robert Jones on Jimmy Johnson's staff. When we return, Denver, Tom.
It sure is nice to come to Mama's Used Cars and buy a good used car truck with no hassle. We've got something for everybody. Our selection is big and our prices are little. Son, I asked you to put a water hose on this truck.
Water hose?
Don't forget about my pickups. I've got the best, and we're dealing on every one. What's this?
New water hose. Works great, too.
Remember.
Dice, me he puesto ancha de la parte de las boobies y debajo de las axilas. ¿Qué puedo usar para verme más delgada de esa parte? Okay. Eso es la parte de arriba, ¿no? Sí, la parte de arriba.
Premium viewing choices. And right now, you can also add your choice of HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, the Movie Channel, or the Disney Channel and save 50% on installation. Call 255-3770 and order. And save 50% on installation. Call today.
If it's a money deal, then fine. Make the statement that we're trying to unload X amount of dollars, etc., so on. But don't insult our intelligence.
I mean, I don't know of any other business where you have to pay your employees based upon what your dumbest competitor pays.
I think there's just much too much whining on the part of people in ownership.
Baseball's a lot like democracy. Democracies have to get in trouble before they act.
Muchas gracias, ya lo sabe, casita. Qué buenos tips nos has dado. Nosotros regresamos con más de la hora de la papa. No se muevan.
Las vacaciones todavía están en la hora de la papa.
Picking the Washington spot. But the Broncos are up. This just in, John Elway is their quarterback. This not just in. Came out like a Tommy Maddox. Know that you don't have to get him in the game. Have him learn at the foot of John Elway. That's a question. Tommy Maddox is with us, where David Klingler was in Newport Beach, California. Craig James is on the scene. Hanging around with all those quarterbacks, Craig.
Lee Steinberg, when you hang around him, you know you're going to be around quarterbacks. I have no alternative today. Lee, a lot of hope, or a little hope, I guess, with Kansas City and maybe Tommy going through there. But now that you look at it and you've got Denver, what's the chances of that?
Well, this is where we sort of thought that Tommy would go, as long as there were not any amazing surprises with players just so valuable that Denver couldn't pass him up. But they've shown real interest in him. Remember, quarterback's that key critical position. David Klingler went 6. No one has gone since then. And Tommy is the perfect pick for a team that doesn't need him to start tomorrow, but can have him be brought along a little bit and then have a very smooth, orderly quarterback transition.
Tommy, the decision to come out early, you getting antsy now?
I'm getting nervous. You know, if it would hurry up and get here, it'd be all right. But it's a lot of fun. You know, I think the nervous build-up adds to the excitement of it. And, you know, I'm just anxious to see where I'm going to go and get there.
Obviously, you see a lot of good players still on the draft board right now. As a sophomore coming into this season, looking at that, is no regrets at all that you made that
choice?
No,
I don't have any regrets. It's been fun, and I'm very excited. And like I say, I'm just anxious to find out where I'm going to go. But I have no regrets whatsoever.
Lee, I guess backing up a little bit, there was not a pre-draft deal done with Cincinnati and Klingler, was there?
There was, not only was there not a deal, they never called, and we never talked to them at all, so it was a little bit of a shock. I had a dream the other night that Mike Brown drafted David Klingler and said, well, we don't need to sign him until training camp. It was more like a nightmare. But we'll start with a fresh face and hope it goes well. With Klingler not going, with no trade happening with
Nova is 3 and Utah is 4. The East Beast is UMass after rolling through the Atlantic 10. Georgetown is 2, and 2 red-hot teams, Texas Tech and Marquette, are 3 and 4. Those teams on the out 04-72, it was the first win for Jeff Van Gundy as New York's head coach. Patrick Ewing took this one to the hole with power. That was part of a 26-point effort. The Bulls are still a princely 54 and 7. The Spurs have won 8 of 9 after picking up a huge road win over the Supersonics, 106-105. David Robinson, always the rim rocker. This was 2 of his 36 points. The Sonics have still won 15 of 17. Elsewhere, Orlando set an NBA record with their 39th straight home win. Miami knocked off Cleveland. The Clips slipped by Philadelphia. Boston by 7 over Milwaukee. Portland picked up the double overtime win. Washington topped Atlanta. Washington had 42 in the Houston win. Utah won their 7th straight. Toronto knocked off Dallas. New Jersey topped Denver. Mitch Richmond with the game-winning 3 for Sacramento. On the ice, the Red Wings won their 4th straight.
Tommy, I wish you all the luck in the world. I really wish you'd have stayed in school, though. I think you'd have done a little bit better for yourself in the pro ranks. You don't have to grab the big bucks today. If you're a quarterback in this game, you can play a long, 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 long time. But good luck in the World League, because I think that's where you're going to get your training. And I'm not saying it's bad, but I think that's where he's going to wind up.
Joe, I hope that's a Nielsen household, because they were watching.
I know, all of them are watching.
When we come back, we'll discuss the Broncos pick. They could be Carl Pickens, wide receiver. He's not a slim Pickens. We'll be back.
A lot of women find my looks intimidating. Do you?
My mother makes the best brisket.
There I was in the Congo.
Why is a good man so hard to find?
Just a minute, okay? Why ask why? Try Bud Dry. It's dry brewed, not watered down. To drink light, yet satisfy completely. So while men aren't perfect, at least refreshment is.
Blue. A color that reached for the sky.